When it comes to watch collecting, the buck never stops with owning just one watch. Here are all of the secret hidden costs to watch collecting and how you can ultimately optimize your watch collection and its maintenance. So let's get right into it. So guys, I've received a ton of questions about the Omega Speedmaster giveaway. For those of you who aren't aware, I am currently running an Omega Speedmaster giveaway. I have reached the goal on the Birdie Jewelry YouTube channel page, which was 10,000 subscribers. However, I am doing it in collaboration with a friend of mine, JJ from the Watch Hangout. When he reaches 10,000 subscribers, we'll be all set to give away the Omega Speedmaster. If you like more details on how to enter the giveaway, I will leave the YouTube video, which explains everything, linked down in the description below so you can check it out for yourself. And of course, enter the free Omega Speedmaster giveaway. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. So guys, as I mentioned, of course, watch collecting is a very addictive hobby and comes with a lot of secret costs that a lot of watch collectors simply do not take into consideration whenever owning a watch. I myself own a pretty extensive watch collection, and something that I'm always aware of are all the different secret costs of owning these watches, starting first and foremost, and that is the fact that you simply cannot stop with just one watch. It's a matter of fact, and there is no question about it, that once you get into the hobby, you are deep down the rabbit hole and you will never stop or be satisfied, frankly speaking. The fact of the matter is, social media has really twisted our perceptions as to what a good watch collection is, leaving us collectors never satisfied with what we have in our collection. Take, for example, someone like myself, who's 26 years old. I have a Rolex, I have a Patek Philippe. That alone should be enough, more than enough, to last more than an entire lifetime, even beyond somebody's lifetime when it comes to my watch collection. And yet I look down on my box and see also a Vacheron Constantin and Montblanc monopusher chronograph and still think, what do I want next? It's part of this crazy disease that we call watch collecting. And the fact is that we'll never be satisfied until we achieve what we believe our vision for perfection is. And frankly speaking, that simply will never be achieved. Without question, there will always be a bigger collector or a new timepiece, of course, to strive for, especially as watch brands continue to not only evolve their designs, but release new watches every single year. And so without question, one of the biggest secret costs to watch collecting is it simply never stops. There is no exit. In my opinion, you simply cannot call yourself a collector if you stop collecting or chasing the next piece. It's just part and parcel of the collecting journey. You are always chasing the next kind of watch or the next perfect kind of iteration of your collection, whatever that may be at whatever time and whatever point in your watch collecting journey. That, of course, comes at a huge cost. I mean, think about it myself. I could have parked those kind of assets into so many different other things other than watches that probably would have borne a much better return than watches have over the last couple of years. But at the end of the day, the pleasure of course, pride of ownership of owning these timepieces make them so worthwhile to be a collector in this watch collecting space. And so without question, it's worth every penny in my opinion. But again, it's something to be wary of because we as watch collectors simply are never satisfied with our collection. Now, second up is the service costs, something that, again, a lot of collectors definitely don't take into consideration. And it's one of the big drawbacks, I think, for affordable watches. It's a reason why I personally don't collect affordable watches and why I feel that genre just isn't for me. At the end of the day, a lot of the affordable watches, when it comes time to actually service these watches, will be more expensive to service than the actual watches themselves. However, the whole point of owning a watch is kind of getting memories with it, scratching it up, making it your own watch, unique in the world of watches because, of course, it has all the retained memories of ownership from your personal experience with it. However, when it comes to affordable watches, what you end up having is a watch that ultimately costs more to service it than the actual watch itself, which isn't really worthwhile. It's hard to say. Again, it really depends on the personal collector itself. But me personally, I would rather own something that I feel is a little bit more valuable, that is a little bit more well-built. And of course, when it comes down to servicing, will be more worth it to service down the line as opposed to just disposing of it and getting a brand new timepiece. But again, service costs are extremely important to take into consideration. Even your basic movement will now probably cost you north of at least $300 if you're talking about a base ETA movement that just needs standard lubrication, no parts replaced or anything like that. But even nowadays, your basic base movement will cost at least $500 to service without question. And so it's something to really take into consideration, especially as you're evolving as a collector and getting more and more expensive, luxurious watches, maybe even some with higher level complications, because then we're talking about service prices in the potentially thousands of dollars, which again will only help to increase the ultimate cost basis of your watch collection, which is really something to take into consideration, especially if you're somebody who collects 10, 15, 50, 100 plus watches. The cost of service is not negligible. It's something that will definitely impact the cost basis of your watch collection, and it's something to be wary of with, of course, the life of your timepiece, because all watches will require some kind of maintenance over time if you're collecting it for a long enough period. Next up is for watches on a leather strap, and that is, of course, the cost to replace straps. It's something that is very important. Now, of course, one of the amazing things about having a watch on a leather strap, or just a strap in general, is the fact that you can change up the straps, and it adds so much versatility to the watch. It really gives the watch a whole new life and whole new character, and breathes new life into the watch ultimately. However, when you think about the cost of ownership of a strap, especially high quality straps, we're talking in the $100 to $200+ range in most cases, this can add up fairly quickly. And I know so many collectors who are watching this video, I'm sure, have boxes filled with straps that they simply never use because of odd lug widths or because maybe the colors don't match their watches in their current collection. So it's something definitely to take note of, because straps can definitely add up over time to the point where you can have an entire collection of straps that are worth as much as a luxury watch. Again, that is the case for a lot of watch collectors that I personally know. Having that versatility is really, really nice. But again, with excessive use of a watch, it will require you to change out your straps. And so that is something that you should take note of. Personally, when it comes to a strap, I'm always looking for either one of two things: a rubber underside, or of course an alligator underside. This will help preserve the long-term maintenance and overall care of the watch, because sweat doesn't kind of disperse into the back of the strap as quickly and doesn't ruin the strap as quickly when it's a rubber or alligator underside. And in these cases, they actually can develop over time, and you can wear them for multiple years. When you have calf skin, for example, if your wrist gets sweaty, it will leave stains and marks, which over time will ultimately affect the actual material, and without question will make it unable to be used in the long term. So that is definitely something to consider: the cost of straps, how many straps you're getting, and of course, what is the potential future use of these straps. It's something that is definitely an added cost to watches that not a lot of watch collectors pay attention to. Next up is the cost of storage. That is definitely an important note, right? Especially with the modern watch market, with the prices being of watches being so high nowadays. Having appropriate storage, be it with actually very secure safes or maybe safety deposit boxes, actual keeping of storage of your watches in nice boxes. These are all things that will help maintain, of course, the life and preserve your watches over time, and definitely something I think that is worth investing into, be it expensive safe, or of course a safety deposit box, or for example, a luxurious box to hold your watches in. Everything will help to essentially preserve and of course protect the life and warranty of your watch, to ultimately allow it to run better and of course preserve the condition of the watch over time. But again, this is not inexpensive. It's something that you should take into consideration, because of course safes can be extremely expensive. Of course, there's a huge varying degree in terms of a good versus a bad safe. But of course, you can kind of buy what's appropriate for you and figure out which kind of solution protects your watches and keeps them protected over time throughout their life. And last but certainly not least is probably the most overlooked thing, and that is the cost of wearing a watch. Now, there's so many different costs to wearing a watch. First of all is the opportunity cost, right? Owning a timepiece means that you've allocated funds into buying one watch as opposed to another watch, or into buying some other physical asset, for example, that could potentially be yielding you a return over time. And not to mention, of course, wearing a physical watch over time will cause the watch to get scratched and beat up, and will potentially require it to have service quicker. And so in that regard, wearing a watch actually costs you money every single time that you wear it. It's something that you definitely have to take note of. Now, I'm not somebody who says, put the watch down, keep it in a safe, hoard it and possess it, and just look at it and never wear it and enjoy it. I think watches are meant to be worn, they're meant to be enjoyed. But of course, there is that added cost to wearing them. Scratches will affect the trade-in value if you want to sell it potentially down the line, as well as, of course, the opportunity cost of getting maybe something else, be it in watches or in something else, that could potentially yield a higher return. So, of course, these are just a few all-encompassing costs to owning a luxury timepiece. Let me know down in the comments below what you think are some of the other kind of costs people who collect watches don't really consider when buying them. It is something that isn't often talked about, and I think extremely important, especially for new or established collectors to consider whenever you're building your collection over the long term. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more videos like this in the future. As always, my name is Marco for Burdines Jewelry. It's a pleasure making these videos. Thank you so much for watching.